Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Ruach Kodash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. We're the house of David, reborn again in this generation. And shalom to the 130 Yasharala, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, who before losing our true heritage were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about this Black Satanist album known as the Seventh King of Edom, right? And I found this lesson, or this song, excuse me, when I was doing a search for the term Edom, right? I was, every once in a while, I like to search for terms on the internet relating to the Bible, Hebrew Israelites, Edom, and so on and so on, to just see what comes up. Well, this time in going through, I found this image, right? And I, curiosity, got me, and I decided to click on it and find out what it was. Well, it turns out that it's an album, right? And it revealed to me some things which I already knew, but it was pretty surprising. But let's go ahead and read the scripture before we get into what I found. This is Jeremiah 49:10. But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not. So you see, the Lord, when he raised up these Edomites, when I say Edomites, I'm talking about today's so-called Caucasian race, right? The self-proclaimed white man, right? Who are the true descendants of the man in the Bible referred to as Esau, right? Esau being the wicked twin brother, or of Jacob, right? The righteous seed, whose name was changed to Israel, who is the forefather of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians. Now, that being said, the prophecy which are spoken about in Genesis regarding Esau had to have played out here upon earth. That being that he would live upon the fatness of the earth and from the dew of heaven, and that ultimately he would have the whole world in subjection under his sword, right? And his deception, right? And that deception is now starting to come apart at the seams, right? This is why now the term for these Caucasians is now starting to go back to their biblical, reality, which is that they are the Edomites, the nation of Edom, as this album says, right? And the thing is this truth has, always been upon the earth, right? But it's been hidden in the deepest realms of secret societies, right? This is something that only those in power were knowledgeable of. Why is that? Well, because for these devils to be in power, they had to deceive the world, right? And in their power lies secrecy, okay? This is what makes the current world leaders right now, who for the most part you would refer to them as the Illuminati, or as they refer to themselves, the enlightened ones, the Luciferians. They had power because of their secrecy. But starting 80s, 90s, people started coming out and whistleblowing, I guess you could say, about this truth. About, you had John Todd come out, I think in the 70s or late 80s, talking about how the music industry, especially the rock metal industry, was completely infiltrated by witches, how they put spells on all these things. You had sorcerers come out like Manny P. Hall, right, who were like high-level Freemasonry, leaders, come out to tell the truth of what they actually did, right? How they would put these symbols out there, these rituals, these things to get society to think a certain way, to do certain things, right? And in doing so, they would not only spread their power unknowingly to the masses, but they would also communicate to their fellow initiated people who knew the truth, right? One of these methods were in music, right? Like what you're seeing here, right? This is a song or an album that talks about the history of Edom, right? And we're going to go through the album. We're going to read the lyrics, so that way you can kind of see where these devils come from and what they believe in and stuff, right? So here is the devil who made this album, right? Now this guy's a straight up witch, right? He's a witch. He's a warlock, Satanist and shit, right? And in doing so, and this song here, there's no words to it, right? It's just songs and everything, and you're supposed to recite these words, I'm guessing, and stuff. But I just wanted to in highlighting this album, I want to show you that these devils, these Edomites, these so-called Caucasians, they actually know who they are biblically, right? And they understand where their power comes from, right? Now, Satanists and Freemasons and the witches of today, they're the most truthful of the Edomites, right? They actually understand where their power comes from. They actually understand who they descend from biblically, right? But your average, daily Joe Schmo and his wife, the Karens of the world, they don't know who they are. They just know that they have power, right? And they know that they are in rulership, right? But people like this, right, they call upon, if you look here, right, it tells you here, let's just read this real quick. It says, "Come forth, ye who reign formless and void," right, "in kingdoms of Edom and balance destroyed," right? So they know that the leadership of this world, the so-called Caucasian empire that rules the world, they understand that those are the kingdoms of Edom, right? And they're formless and void, meaning that they're hidden. They believe that they are hidden, right? And that not only that, but they've also destroyed the balance of the world, man. This is why everything is going to shit, right? And what do they do? And how are they doing this? Well, they're calling upon their gods, right? Like here it says, Ashmedai, Baal, Ashtaroth, Belial. You see, so these people, they literally are calling upon their demons, which had given them power, right? But that power is going away, right? That power no longer is starting to serve them, right? This is why you're now seeing albums like this now being highlighted and explained for what it truly is. It's a song of power for these Edomites, right? At least those who are in rulership, right? This is why this devil here has this trigrammaton, right? Basically this magical seal here, right? This is the song. Let's see, where is it? The Singeth the Sword of the Curse. Yeah, here's the song I wanted to highlight the lyrics. So to show you, man, that these devils, they actually know. But before I read that, let's go ahead and read this, what was written by one of the high-level Freemason Edomites in regards to why these things are done, right? Why these devils do this stuff, man. And this is Manny P. Hall from The Secret Teachings of All Ages, page 20. It says, "Symbolism is the language of the mysteries," right? Mysteries meaning these are the ancient teachings which came from Egypt, right? And Egypt in turn got those teachings from the previous world kingdom that ruled here on earth, which the Bible talks about in the very first lines, calling, and it refers to this ancient kingdom of so-called Atlantis as the Edomites, right? Those were the people who existed before the Ice Age, and ultimately the survivors of that world cataclysmic event that happened that destroyed that world, right? That created the Ice Age, and out of those people who survived that, right, was pulled Adam and Eve, okay? If you look at that movie, 10,000 BC, it's a very accurate depiction of the people who had come out of the previous world kingdom, right? That the Lord had raised up those people, and basically told them to populate the earth, right? Well, you had people who had still a form of power, but that form of power came from that kingdom that had just been destroyed. And then you also had the outer people, right? Like the people, like the main protagonists in that movie, who were like kind of like cave people and stuff, living off the land, right? Well, those were the people that ultimately the Lord pulled Adam and Eve out of. Okay, those were the surviving Adamites of the previous world. Well, these devils, from the writings that were written in the stone and everything, the teachings that they've gotten, well, those teachings and everything that they got and that they presume and everything, those are what they refer to as the language of the mysteries, right? The ancient teachings of the old world. It says, symbolism is the language of the mysteries. From symbols, men have ever sought to communicate to each other those thoughts which transcend the limitation of language. In a single figure, a symbol may both reveal and conceal, for to the wise the subject of the symbol is obvious, while to the ignorant the figure remains inscrutable. Hence, he who seeks to unveil the secret doctrine of antiquity must search for that doctrine not upon the open pages of books, which might fall into the hands of the unworthy, but in the place where it was originally concealed, right? And that right there is talking about symbolism, because again, these devils, they do everything through symbols, through secret talk, secret words, right? That people don't really understand the meaning of it, right? But that's what this song or these lyrics here do. They spread the truth of the Edomites, of these Caucasians' origins and what their true power comes from. So let's go and read what this says. It says, let's see, we'll start here. Oh, hear my song of the sword, right? And check that out, right? Because Esau's blessing is the sword, right? The song of Cain, cursed, abhorred, right? And remember Cain, how the descendants of Cain would basically sing the song of them killing other people, right? Cursed in clay, I cursed the day, and like a beast upon its prey, I throned the corpse of Abel's race, right? So, I see, to crown myself in God's disgrace. You see that? So these devils, they understand that they are in rulership today, in contrary to what the Lord wants, right? Because ultimately the Lord wants to put us Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, right? Jerusalem, the city of peace, the people of peace, upon the throne of the world, right? Along with his son, the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, right? But to fulfill the blessing of Esau and to also punish us for us going off, he has crowned these devils, man, and he's letting right now the unrighteous rule, right? This is what it refers to in Job 9:24, that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? That's what this is talking about. To crown myself in God's disgrace. Oh, hear the song of my tongue, the sword of the beast, to be adored, right? And there you go. See, these devils, they understand that they're the beast. They understand. That's why when it says the mark of the beast, who is that talking about, man? It's the mark of these devils, these Edomites. They are the beast upon the earth, man. You know, that when it refers to the mark of the beast, right? There isn't going to be some, mythical monster, this minotaur that's going to come out of the forest and going to automatically, it's going to make everybody in the world take his marking in their right hand or their forehead. No, man. It's talking about these Caucasians, the true beast of the world, man. All right, continuing. A sword of truth and knowledge forbidden, right? And that's, you see that? See, their weaponry is the truth. See, they actually understand the truth, who they come from, right? And a knowledge forbidden. Well, what is that forbidden knowledge? Well, it tells you here. Yet a key of the depths of the hidden, that which opened the greatest of shrines, a taste of the fruit and a draught of its wines. They're talking about the wickedness, the knowledge of good and evil, right? That tree of knowledge, which, or in the Garden of Eden, where the snake, which again, the snake is simply just these people back before they were known as the Caucasians, before they were known as the Edomites, right? That tree of good and evil was simply a doctrine, right? And what is that doctrine? Satanism, witchcraft, right? And that's what these devils are talking about, man, is that they hold the keys for a depths of the hidden, right? So basically they understand how magic works, how witchcraft, Satanism, they understand all these things. This is their power, man, because they partake in the knowledge, the forbidden knowledge, right? Continuing, oh, here, this is my sword of song, of curses sung by the sevenfold tongue, right? I singeth the hymns of Nebuchadnezzar. Now, who was Nebuchadnezzar? Right? Nebuchadnezzar was the king of Babylon, okay? And those Babylonians, right? When you go all the way back to the Tower of Babel with King Nimrod, right? And those who descended from him, who became known as the Chaldeans, right? They were all witches and warlocks, man. They worked with the demons and the devils, man. When King Nimrod, spoken about in Genesis 10 and also in 13, when he built that Tower of Babel, it wasn't to a physical height that he was trying to achieve. No, he was trying to get into the spiritual world, into the heavens, through witchcraft, through opening portals, right? And to do that, you know, this guy here, he talks about, he singeth the hymns of Nebuchadnezzar. So he understands where this power comes from. Star of the morning, whom shineth from afar, right? Talking about, he also understands that this guy, star of the morning, also is another thing that they refer to as Satan, right? Or Lucifer, because ultimately, in this world that we live in, Satan, he was considered like, his power was rising, right? It was fulfilling its full growth, right? It was still morning, right? But now the sun is setting on the Edomite Empire. That morning star is now going away. The next morning star is going to be Yahweh Shai, the truthful kingdom, right? And on our kingdom, the sun will never set. It's going to be an ongoing kingdom. O ye trembling spirit, the light, right? And burning Jerusalem, Elam, the night, right? So you see, these devils, they understand that they originally destroyed Jerusalem. Not only the physical place when the Babylonians came and destroyed it, and the Edomites were there saying, raise it, which means destroy it, but they've also destroyed the people who are known as Jerusalem, right? The city of peace. Jeru and Salam means the people of peace, right? So these devils, not only is this meaning here talking about destroying our physical capital, Jerusalem, but it's also talking about them destroying us as a people. See? And thus ends the first song, which was the song of Pan-Satan, right? All Satan. And the horned god of the witches, Baphomet, right? So you see, these devils, they understand where their power comes from. They understand what they're doing. This is Isaiah 29:15. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from Yahweh Ba'ashim Shai, and their works are in the dark, and they say, who seeth us and who knoweth us? Right? See, because you see, these devils, there's this chart here, right, which shows, and this is actually from them themselves, right? It talks about how they understand where their power comes from, right? If you look up here at the very top, the fall of Atlantis, the Isles of Arion, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, right? Gobli Tepe, which is that ancient, Adamite settlement, right? The Sumerian cuneiform tablets, which also is which science will admit is the oldest writing of all on the earth, which goes back about 6,000 years, which talks about the Atlantis and the previous world Adamite empire, right? Well, these devils, they've taken all these things, man, right? Brotherhood of the snake, right? These are the snakes in the Garden of Eden, man, right? And what did they worship? Well, let's follow this. What this is known as the Sephiro. That's what these Kabbalists or these devils call this tree here, right? Or what they refer to as the tree of life, okay? It tells you Baal worshiping, right? Worshiping Satan and human sacrifice, right? And who was the first people to do that we know of? The Canaanites, right? And from Canaanites, shows you here Nimrod, who came from the kings of Babylon, and also he was referred to as Osiris, who was worshipped in that name by the pharaohs of Egypt, right? The old Egypt. This is before Ham went into Egypt and took over that place, right? These were the original Egyptians. And then it goes all on, and if you look on here, right, you got all these things of knowledge, all these doctrines, right? It shows you how the truth came down through the Roman Empire, and over here, right, it shows you how the truth came down through us, right? Judea, and we were the true temple, man. But also it shows you how right here, synagogue of Satan, it shows you how within the truth there was devils within it, and that would be when John Hyrcanus, he actually converted the Edomites, man, and he brought them into the fold, which was something he did because he was tired of the Edomites raiding Jerusalem, man, right? And but this ultimately is a bit off, man. But again, it shows you how all these powers, man, all culminated into this wicked Vatican system, man, right? And how they set up everything, and then it shows how the Dark Ages came and the Crusades came, and from the Dark Ages, it shows you how the Khazarians, which were the people who you refer to today as the so-called Jews, the people in Israel today, who call themselves the true Jews but who are not. It shows you, man, that they were the Khazarians back then, and they converted, right? Judaic conversion. They converted to the heritage of the lost people of Israel, man, right? And it goes right here. It says Khazar's Exodus, fall of Natal, back when they were destroyed by the Rus. Also shows how the Vatican started setting up the Knights Templar, right? And ultimately, after the Knights Temple, it says the Holy Land fall of Acre. This is when the Holy Land fell and the Knights Templars fled from the Holy Land of Israel, right? Because it fell to the Ottoman Empire. Well, they fled, and in 1291 they created Switzerland, right? And this is why when you look at Switzerland, it was created by the Knights Templar, hence why they have that white cross, right? And from here comes the ancient families of Merovingians, the black nobility, right? And from that stems the creation of not only when Switzerland was set up as Knights Templars, but that they created the Freemasons, right, back in 1770, right? And the Khazars, who again had converted to call themselves the Jews or Judaism, right, along with those who lived in Switzerland, they came together to form the Jesuit Society, right? This is the society that eventually would take over the Vatican and turn it to, for the most part, Satanism. And then what do you get from this? Well, you got the Rothschild dynasty, right, which would be the so-called Jews of power that controlled the Jesuit system, who call themselves the true Jews of today. And then you also have from the Freemasonry, side, and Switzerland, and that you have the United Kingdom, right, the Windsors and stuff like that, right, what you would just refer to as the Caucasian race. But ultimately, these are the same people. Right, and well, in 1776, they created the Illuminati, right, through the helping of Adam Weishaupt, right, and this was formed in Bavaria, right, and then from that they started an organization known as the Bilderberg Group. The Freemasons had their hand in creating the Federal Reserve, which was a banking monopoly over the U.S. currency, and the Jesuits created the Holy Alliance, basically where the Vatican, for the most part, took over all the known religions in the world, for the most part, right? And in doing so, what did they work to create? Well, they basically created America in 1776, right? Which they believe, or which is their Nuevo Order Seclorum, the new order of secularism, which they want to build or remodel as the Messianic Atlantis. You see, because America is supposed to be a new Atlantis, okay? A new Atlantis where these devils can practice their witchcraft, their Satan worship, their Baal, the Moloch worship, right? all these things, man. And I'm going to go ahead and, you know, you could pause this video and you could go through and you could see all these things here, man. Right? And it shows you how all these things are connected. And again, this comes from these devils themselves when they actually have told on themselves. And why is that? Because just like the scripture says, man, the Lord has made these devils bare, right? And he's showing the world the truth of who they are and how they see themselves, and ultimately how they understand that they go back to Cain, right? That they understand that their bloodline is tied back to the cursed line of Cain, right? That's who these devils are, right? And this is why the leaders of our world, they do things like child sacrifice. They go to yearly events like here in Northern California, known as the Bohemian Grove, right? It says, because it's perfectly normal for the world's elites to do mock sacrifices under a giant owl statue. Now, what is that, right? That right there is those ancient rituals, man, of worshiping of Molech, right? All these things, man, right? And it's not just some random, you know, Edomites that go there, man. You got presidents there, man, like Ronald Reagan and Nixon, who go to these things, man, who are told that they're going to lead the world for the next 4 years and do this, because all of it is all, the whole world is a stage, and these Edomites are running it, and the play that they're putting on is for the world, right? To make them believe that your vote counts, that you know, certain countries are against each other, right? This is Wisdom of Solomon 12:5. And also those merciless murderers of children and devourers of man's flesh and the feast of blood, right? The Wisdom of Solomon scripture right here calls out these devils for what they do, right? They understand. Even back then, there was a understanding that these people, just like the ancient Canaanites, used to murder children for their spiritual energy, right? To appease their powers, their gods, which ultimately are demons, right? And in doing so, man, in doing these secret rituals and whatnot, and pushing these Satanist views, right? What does it do? It then pushes that out to their people, which naturally you could see here, right? That these are the Satanist people. These are the border of wickedness that the Bible refers to them as, man, right? And this is why here in America, every one of the holidays here, Christmas to you know, Easter, all that stuff is all pagan, right? It's all veiled in false Christianity to make you people believe that you're worshiping a righteous God, but in reality, you're worshiping a pagan, devilish ritual, right? And these Edomites here, for example, they understand what they're doing, and this is why they're totally okay worshiping Christmas, celebrating it, right? Because again, when you go back through that line, man, these are those people who ultimately understand what they're doing. They understand that they're not God's people, right? They understand that they're the Edomites, right? This is why they do shit like this, seances to Satan, right? This is why they push music to be in these satanic to do these satanic rituals. Devils like Lady Gaga, right? You got Madonna and all these people here, man, doing things under the pentagrams, doing seances, all this stuff. This is all things that are being pushed in front of your face, which until, you know, recently, that the Lord allowed these devils to hide, right? Now people understand that the NFL halftime show, a lot of people understand that right there is a ritual, a magic ritual, right? That when artists come out here and pretend to drink blood from a heart, that actually is a form of reverencing the satanic eating of flesh, right? This is Isaiah 47:2. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, right? And from thy youth doesn't talk about when these Edomites are just little babies like these damn devils here. No, this is talking about the youth of this nation, right? Since it went back all the way to the snake, the garden the Garden of Eden when they were referred to as the snake, right? If so, be thou shalt be able to profit. If so, be thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels, right? Because right now, these devils, they're doing all these sacrifices and everything, but they're starting to find out that they're failing. Why? Because people are waking up to the hypnotic trance they've been in. They're starting to realize that these are the Edomites the Bibles are speaking about, right? That these Caucasians are the problems of the world, right? And that's because the Lord is making these Edomites bare, right? Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee, right? And what's coming upon them? The destruction of the world, right? These devils saying that they're gonna rule the world, they're gonna bring forth a new world order and all that stuff. Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves for the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm it, nor fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto thee, with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander, every one of his quarter, none shall save thee. See, because ultimately these Edomites are going to go into destruction, right? So I just wanted to share this with you, Akim. Hopefully this video was edifying. So until the next time, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rukak, Radash, that honors my teachers, the apostles, and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.